So in this lesson we're going to look at arrays. So far in our programming we know that if we need to store a value, that needs to be stored inside a variable. Now variables are great, but we can only store one item or one value inside a variable at any one time. So if I have a variable, say name, pen would be helpful, I can assign it my name, and if I printed name there it would output Claire because that's what's stored inside it. But the minute that I then reassign that, say with Bob, Bob then gets put inside name and Claire will be lost. So within programming we have data structures that we can use that can store more than one related values, and the one that you need to know about is an array, or the equivalent of an array, and that's lucky for us because actually Python doesn't support arrays, it only supports lists. So I'm going to be talking to you in this video about the use of arrays and what arrays can do, and looking at the pseudocode of arrays. But then we're going to use Python to program a list which is just slightly different, but does all of the same things that we need for this level anyway. Okay, so what is an array? Now, array is a data structure where you can store one or more related items. Now, arrays are made up of elements, and each element in the list is referenced by an index, and they are zero index, so they start at 0. So let's take a little look at what that actually looks like. So imagine if I had a variable, it might look like this, one box with a value inside it. So let's put this value 10 inside there, and I could call this number equals 10. Okay, but what if I wanted a list of numbers or an array of numbers? So I could call this numbers, and I could actually have loads and loads of elements, and I could put lots of different numbers in there, like that. Okay, so this is just like in a variable, that's its name, that's its identifier, so its label. So this array or list is called numbers, and I use the same assignment operator to assign the values to it. It doesn't quite look like this. I'm going to show you what it looks like in Python in a second. And in order to be able to find an element in the array, we use an index. And these are indexed. I'm going to do an index in a different colour because you can't actually see them. And they are 0 indexed. So the first element of the array is actually indexed at 0. The second element is indexed at 1. So we use a 0 index array to store a list of items, and that list have to be of the same data type. So if this is going to be numbers, but let's just say I had a list to store colours, I would have strings in there to store the colours in there, like this, and so on. So that's what it looks like. Okay, now in pseudocode, which is a good thing because it also looks very similar to what it looks like in Python too. Say, let's go back to numbers. If I wanted to create a list or an array, I would write the name of the list with a suitable name reference to what's been stored inside it. I'd open up a square bracket, and then I'd put my elements in there, separated with commas, like that. Because this is these are the elements, and they are indexed by, they are referenced by their index, Therefore, if in pseudocode we wanted to write output 0, that would actually output 2, because 2 is at position 0. If I was to output 3, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3. This would be the third element in that array, and then it would actually output 12. So this one would output, that would be 2, and that would be 12 down here. So an array or a list is a group or a sequence. They like to call these a sequence of related values or that are stored within a data structure. They are 0 indexed. And to reference the element of the array, you do so using square brackets, and then the reference in that square bracket. And this is what it looks like in pseudocode. Okay, so have another look. You can use the website to help you. You need to define what an array is and complete the statements, and then take a look at the array in your OneNote and identify what would be output from the references given using that array.